Hi, I'm winemaker Brian Maloney, and we're here in the DeLoach Estate Vineyard enjoying some of the 2013 Estate Pinot Noir. And with me is our wine grower Eric Pooler. Eric, do you want to talk a little bit about the estate?
Indeed. So here at the estate, we're farming about 20 acres divided between 8 clones of Pinot Noir and 3 clones of Chardonnay. Within the 8 clones of Pinot Noir, we have various rootstocks really designed and planted to maximize quality based on individual soil type. And it's interesting in a given vintage how different varietals and different rootstocks reflect themselves. You can count on the fact that nothing will ever be the same in terms of the percentage breakdown between the various clonal components.
One of the things we found after farming this site for several years now is actually there's a distinct difference in the ripening pattern and the flavor patterns we see from the front of the property, where it's a little bit flatter and the soils are a touch heavier, compared to the back of the property where the soils are a little bit lighter and the slopes a little bit more sloping. Eric, do you want to talk?
Yeah, we're adjacent to the lagoon on the back end of the property, and so the soils just tend to be lighter. There's some slope to them too, which causes greater drainage on a consistent basis and helps the plants ripen more consistently and earlier.
Yeah.
And in 13, just due to the season, we had a heat spike toward the end of August, which really drove sugars and pushed phenolics, and we were able to pick versus 2012 roughly a week earlier.
So with the 2013 vintage and the estate wine, this is the first year where one of the clones was able to qualify into it. In fact, the clone, what we call the Mount Eden clone, performed quite well and is going into one of our new designated wines that we have, block designated wines. But also it makes up a component in this wine where in the previous estates it never had qualified. So I think that shows in the quality of the 13 that we have been able to bring in more of the individual blocks from the site integrated into this wine. It's still really, the backbone is coming from that front block of 828 though, one of our favorite clones on the property, and just one where you see just a great Pinot Noir characteristic with a little bit more weight and texture than some of the more traditional Dijon clones that have been planted in the area. This wine in particular, just due to the nature of that warmer vintage that Eric was talking about, we ended up seeing kind of some bigger, bulkier tannins, and we ended up aging this for about 20 months, which is fairly long for a Pinot Noir, but one that in a great vintage, when it has all that texture and depth and character, you really want to let all those different components really get to marry together quite well. And so bottled after that longer period of time, that's really now just starting to open up. But just a fabulous, bright fruit characteristic right on top of the nose. In fact, I think that's where some of that Mount Eden clone is really coming through, that really bright red fruit characteristic. And then on the palate, you get that weight coming off the 828 and the Swan and the Latache clones all kind of marrying together. Fantastic wine. One of our favorite vintages off the estate so far. In fact, I put it up there with our initial effort with the 2010s in terms of quality. So hope you all enjoy. Cheers.